Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here. We are back in the Bourgogne, ladies and gentlemen, the quote-unquote best legendary tier battleship in the game. Now, you guys can argue in the comments down below, but let me see all the 12 IQ points. Tell me that this is not the best. Now, we know the Yamato has the ultimate overmatch with its 18.1, which can overmatch the 32 millimeter plating of pretty much every ship except for a few, with the exception of a few icebreakers in the game, but regardless of that, I really enjoyed the Bourgogne, and this game was from a couple months ago. We have Peak and Relativity on our team, um, and this ship will absolutely excel in getting flanks and getting kites, and obviously broadsides. But that is part of your job in a battleship, and I think the Yamato, kind of like this one, I mean, he's kind of developing a crossfire, and you can definitely take that central position in a battleship, but part of your responsibility as a battleship is to develop that crossfire. It befuddles me when people say that you get lucky with crossfires. And yes, if somebody's sailing broadside, you did get lucky or whatever. But part of your job is to develop that broadside and that crossfire. And the Bourgogne excels at that with the speed boost and obviously the reload booster if you catch that cruiser or that ship in a crossfire. And this thing is a cruiser deleter, and that is shown later on in this game. But in the meantime, we are getting a kiting position and just focusing on your. This ship is fun to me and one of the best to me because you have to pay attention to your position. And so many people just point their battleship nose in at they move 2 kilometers up from spawn. And I used to play that way. I actually went back and looked at a lot of my very first gameplay, and I just remember playing this game back in the day. So if you play like that and you think the Bourgogne is not a good ship, maybe adjust your play style or think about your positioning a little bit better. If you are not getting crossfires on ships or just moving your ship 2 kilometers from spawn, it's not the player base. It might be yourself, but regardless of that, you can see we are angled out here, and without domination, we are kind of bunched up in this square with a few of our other ships, but our team actually has decent position, although those ships on the right flank there, I guess on the northeastern side, are not going to be able to shoot for a while, and you can see that a majority of the enemy fleet is on this side. But we do have a Shima that has popped up, and I knew that he was going to go dark here, so I was waiting to either take a shot or to hold it for him to go dark, and he does. But we have an enemy Des Moines and an enemy Kurfürst on this flank here, as well as a good presence. But we do not have any spots, as Relativity is just kind of playing it smart. He's playing it slow. So many players think that you have to rush in and get the aggressive first kill, and while that is nice, if you miss position early in a game, especially in Capture the Base, you lose any advantages you have. And as I have said multiple times before, you are much more valuable to your team alive than you are dead. Some people may look at my position at this point in the game and be like, wow, Aaron's just running to the back of the map. And it truly tells me that they have no clue of this game, because it is 3 minutes into the game and we already have 40k damage. Now, that's not necessarily a lot, but it is a decent chunk for how early this game is and with how prevalent islands are. Now, here's one of my favorite shots because Peak was kind of caught. I think he was spotted by the destroyer here, and he was clamoring for help, and we absolutely give it to him. I think I said get off the screen, but the audio wasn't on time. It was messed up. And that is the perfect example of this ship. Positioning out to get the angle over that island. That Des Moines honestly had decent position, but because of how far we are, or were, we created enough, angle over the island to get that as we holster the gun there. But we have a Yamato here. I think is either on fire or flooding, so we're just going to go ahead and switch that here. Azure Lane Dunkirk has the Commander perk, which allows shell switch, but we do not have that, unfortunately. That is honestly one of the best pay-to-win commanders in the game. But we don't have it, so we will have to be smarter about your ammo choice. And that is another, it's not a pro, but it's not even a con, really, but I guess you could put it under the cons of one of the attributes of this ship is paying attention to your ammo selection choice. You have to load HE when ships are bow tanking you, with the exception of ships that don't have a 27mm bow or destroyers, and you have to load AP when you get those broadsides, and that is part of the rock paper scissors concept of the ship, and part of strategy. But anyway, we are moving back into position here. The enemy has a good hold on the left, and our destroyer is spotted here. And I will say that this Montana, while not being in the worst position, could be in a better position. That destroyer is out there, so we know that he could potentially be taking torpedoes, but we have a destroyer of our own in the form of Relativity, and he did mention that he was spotted in the live stream and give us the indicator. Which, guys, if you want to be a better player, I know some people spam the comms wheel unnecessarily, but if your destroyer is telling you they're spotted or whatever, look for shots, and that is going to be the difference between, and not that win rate or stats matter, but if you're trying to improve as a player and have a little bit more fun, that's going to be the difference in 50 or 55 to a 55 or 60% win rate, is paying attention to those cues. We know that the destroyer was last spotted over there. We were waiting for a shot, but Relativity never got spotted. And I actually told him to run away because the Shima is playing it very smart. He is drawing Relativity into those two ships, one of which being a radar cruiser, the other which having good secondaries. But and this is actually a misplay by me. I should have shot at that curve first, but we had a broadside Kronstadt, and it pays off for us. I'm sorry, it's a Friedrich Gross, the same thing, with a different caliber of whatever. You guys know it's a German battleship. But he was turning out, and we also wanted to get that radar cruiser off the board. And with that good smack, we gave him something to think about. So he actually turns out and turns away. Smart destroyer players will draw other destroyers or aggressive destroyers into their friendly ships, and that's exactly what the Shima was doing. So well played to him. That is a smart play. But here we have a Montana, the quote-unquote best battleship in the game. I think Mr. Iowa Outlaw was in this game, or said GG's afterward, and his team just threw it away. But we did a lot to influence this game. Now, we don't want to go out full broadside here. We don't know where that destroyer is as we catch Mr. Outlaw broadside in the Montana. And, of course, we're going to have to give a little shout-out to Spartan, because the Montana is not a great battleship. Given the current state of the game, it's not awful, it's not bad, but it's not good in any right. Medium caliber guns, very bad. The difference between the Bourgogne and the Montana is the maneuverability, the reload booster, and, well, not that dispersion, but just its ability to smack. You saw us yeet that Des Moines there. And I just prefer the Bourgogne so much more than I do the Montana, but personal choices, personal preferences there. It's not a bad ship in any regard, but we have to give Spartan that little dig. But here we actually switch to the high explosive. I know my giant face is covering that. And this is part of the skill of the ship. Iowa got caught on that rock there. So I say Iowa because his name is Iowa, but the Montana got caught on the rock there and had to move back, and he actually kind of got caught in a tough spot with multiple ships in this left sector of the map here targeting him. So he's going to pay for it, and he's off the board now. Now, we do have the HE loaded when the AP would have been a better choice, and that is one of the weaknesses, though, of the French, is battleships will absolutely chunk your broadside. If you do not angle, you will pay for it, and we lost half of our health there without any citadels. This thing is fairly protected. The citadel is very well armored if you look at the armor viewer, and we have gone over that before, but don't sail broadside is the main lesson of that. So you're going to be better in kiting positions and angling. Here we are angled to pretty much everything as we spot that Shima, and we definitely want to take shots on him, but getting that radar cruiser off the board is almost equally as important. I said this a long time ago, and a lot of people know this, but this game is based on a rock, paper, scissors format, I guess, where destroyers counter battleships, cruisers counter destroyers, and battleships counter cruisers. So if you play that dynamic, it can work out very well for you, which is why I don't necessarily love aircraft carriers or RNG, as we get 5 overpins there. But we pick up the high caliber, smacking 187,000 damage here in a very moderate ship by some people, as we get another Citadel on the Montana there, which puts us over the 200k mark. I don't know about you guys, but and the other community contributors, but I had so many 200k games in this ship, and I know Zatu just put up a massive 300k game, mainly because of his RNG in this ship. But here we get a little cheeky with it, and we try to go for the double strike. The Montana is low, the Kronstadt is ticking, and we actually get the Montana. We saved our back turret, but we missed the Kronstadt, or we would have had a double strike and another kill, and Relativity ticks him out with the fire. But that is going to wrap it up for the game. I hope you guys... we didn't have the absolute best positioning in that game, but we did what was needed. And some people get a little confused or mad, mainly because they don't understand. But we spawned in the middle there, but there's nothing really for our ship to do in the middle. Peak had the middle with his radar cruiser. We have a destroyer, and there's no capture points in the middle. This was capture the base, not domination. So we decided to take a, I guess, westerly or bottom left approach there while kiting out. As you can see me try and fix the audio on stream here. I hate when it does this. Twitch is honestly the worst app ever. I got my capture card hooked up, but I've been really busy lately. So yeah, whatever. But that ship's going to go down, and we're going to finish the game with a nice 211,000 and 2 kills there. I think people get confused by damage and kills, and while it is absolutely your job to do damage in a battleship, if you're positioning yourself correctly, doing damage and tanking damage, as we did to a certain extent, you are going to see your win rate improve by 5%, I promise you. Hiding at the back of the map, getting Krakens, is doing nothing for your team if you lose horrendously. Pushing forward in aggressively does nothing for your team if you die in 3 minutes. I don't understand why people want to play this game either so passively or so non-aggressively or so aggressively in the opening seconds. But that is the final scoreboard there, a nice 2,700 base XP game to help us, get to help show how strong the ship can be and get the win in a ship with 15-inch main battery guns. But just developing those crossfires and the high velocity French guns, even though the vertical dispersion is not the best, is part of the reason that this is one of my favorite, if not the best, legendary tier battleship. It is seen in one of the best battleships on PC by a lot of the clan-ish or the competitive community, but that's besides the point for Legends. But yeah, that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hey, Aaron out. Peace.